cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is going to be an interesting podcast because I've got this new device on my microphone that we'll see if it works. Mike's Daily Podcast. It's called a processor on my microphone, and you can do this, like you can pull this knob all the way over this way, and it does this to your voice, and wow. And it can make your voice disappear, or make it louder, or make it something, I don't know. I didn't pay for it. It was given to me. It's secondhand and it's old. Mike's Daily Podcast. But I'm using it on my microphone on my podcast, and it's exciting, so I hope you like it. I'm not the biggest fan of it right now. Daily. So podcast. It's a work in progress. Yeah. But I thought I would do a podcast on a Monday, because lately I have not been able to do that with all the stuff going on. And so I had gotten up really early this morning, since someone that works at the station got married. Lots of people at the station getting married these days. So I went in and filled in for this person, and it's exciting. Love is in the air. Dum, bum, 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 bum. And so I slept. The thing is, when you do such an early shift, you then have to take a nap. And then when you take a nap, you feel really out of it and odd and off. But it's FF episode 2313. And today, we've got some interesting facts and whatnot on this podcast, like we typically do. So I hope you stick around and enjoy the fun that is Mike's Daily Podcast. Today, since there is love in the air, how does that exist? How does that happen? And if you've listened to this podcast for a while, you know that yours truly, there was a time that I was not enjoying the fun.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The fun that comes from love. I did not have that because of I was in a desert for quite a while people around me were having lots of fun. And that's a bummer. But I have found my lovely lady friend. We've been together for almost 3.5 years. We're about to take a nice trip together and see each other's relatives, and that's always fun and a big step in a relationship. The one great animal and person that brought us together was this wonderful creature, Basil the boxer. We met a little over 3.5 years ago as I was walking. No, he didn't attack her. He walked up to her and she petted him, and things took off from there. But there is this married couple. They are So this article was in the Costco connection, which, by the way, Costco announced that with all the supply chains and whatnot, all the stuff going on, I talked about it on my podcast recently, that they're having some tough times with getting the stuff they need because of all the containers that are just sitting there in the harbors, in the ports, bringing in supplies. This is affecting everybody on top of Costco and other people. But yeah, so they're having a difficult time getting the products that are usually shipped to the U.S. to you. And there's less drivers on the road and all kinds of supply chain issues. You've heard the whole phrase over and over again. So Costco's having some tough times. They're going to have to increase prices. Who knows if that's going to affect their membership at all. But there are 2 Costco members that share the techniques they've acquired for fighting correctly. And their book is called Everybody Fights, so why not get better at it? It is Kim and Penn Holderness. And their guide to helping couples argue more productively and end arguments feeling closer, more loved, and better understood. That's their thing. With the guidance of marriage coach and pastor Dr. Christopher Edmondson, The couple learned to improve their communication. Simple disagreements can escalate into conflicts about every grudge we've ever held, says Kim, but can be resolved if we stick to the issues at hand. Meta-communicating, analyzing how they communicate together, has been essential to having more fruitful arguments. We Monday morning quarterback our fights with a post-game analysis, explains Penn. By determining what went right, what went wrong, which bad habits we need to break, so we can do better next time. While couples can benefit from reading and discussing Everybody Fights, the techniques can be applied to a variety of relationships. They said they wrote the book about how to have more productive conversations as a couple, but these magic words work for children too. Tell me more and I hear you go a long way when talking to your children. The duo felt well prepared for togetherness during the time of COVID-19. Have you noticed how many people are getting married? Have you heard about that the flower industry is like struggling right now? I mean, they can't get enough flowers. They're being overworked. So much for them to do. All these weddings happening. One of my coworkers, well, I told you one got married. That's the one I'm filling in for. And then another guy, he just got married and he just came back from a wedding and he's going to another one. So yeah, a lot is happening. A lot of people wanted to get married last year and couldn't. And then who knows if people being together in the COVID-19 circumstances has helped along. The duo felt well prepared for togetherness during the time of COVID-19. So many couples are struggling with spending 24/7 with their partners, but we were already experts in that department. We learned how to disagree without it leading to a breakdown. The pandemic has also meant more time for cooking and inspired Kim's recipe for a humorous video about preparing chicken tortilla anxiety soup. Chicken tortilla anxiety soup. Okay. Here's the recipe of it. All right, you can probably find this if you go to Costco and grab... What issue? Oh, this is from April. You may not be able to find this issue of the Costco Connection, sorry. But it just looks like regular tortilla soup, so nothing special there. So there you go. It's all about communication, everybody. I think the biggest problems that I have at my job is when someone's not communicating or there's a breakdown in communication and then I hear all about it and then I have to and then that's where it all comes from. So it's good when we communicate and meta-communicate. Hey, I talked about also in the last podcast about plastics. And that is also a very interesting topic. It has gotten a little more interesting in the past 24 hours because I'm hearing that there are really only two types of plastics that you can really recycle, and that's because the companies that spend all the time recycling it, they actually make money from it. And that's fascinating to me that we have that issue, because I used to think, you just can recycle everything. But it appears that some of the sanitation people they tell you that so that you'll give them better to have too much than too little, I guess is their reasoning. But I was also listening to something today saying that's not the case. In fact, a lot of that waste, the extra waste that they're getting, that ends up getting sent to other countries and they put it in their own landfill, and it's like we're sending our waste to other countries. That's a whole thing. So, hey, that's all I got for today's podcast here in Podcastro Valley. Actually, in Podcastro Valley today with this new interesting device that I've been playing around with the whole time I'm doing the podcast. I think right about now I sound probably the best I'm going to sound. I'm not going to sound any better than this. I'm just going to leave it be. But look who's here. Hi, Mac. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
I think that this microphone thing that y'all got is just some kind of big sham and not even working. Why spending time with that?
Well, if it is working, because otherwise no one would hear you with the amazing things that you just said. They would have missed it all. So.
Yeah, that's a lie.
No, it's true. It's a true. Look who else is here.
Oh, Mike, I make the delicious root beer. Have some right now.
So, yes, another thank you. Another early day tomorrow for me. Looking forward to that. But maybe we can do another podcast for you tomorrow evening. But you can chime in about anything we covered. 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast tries to be. And occasionally gets interrupted. What's that, Brewmaster?
Drink the root beer right now. I'll cut you.
Oh. All right. Wow, that actually had seeds in it. I don't think root beer is supposed to have seeds in it. But we can communicate about that and maybe work that out. Because communication's important, okay? Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley, and with more ways to contact me. Oh, and you can also find out what the podcast picture is today. I think we're going to go back to something from a year ago. A year ago's, let's see. Oh, I have to re-verify my podcast for some particular reason. And if I don't, you won't hear it. So I best do that. If you have a podcast, you occasionally need to re-verify it, I have found, in this world. We'll go back to a year ago. Oh, and a wonderful trip my lovely lady friend and I took to Benita a year ago. And I'm noticing from the pictures, it was very, very smoky a year ago. Almost looks smokier than it was this year in the Bay Area. But you can see that picture now at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!